Hello and welcome to Psychgeist, where we talk about the psychology of the era, the science of games. I am your host, Dr. Rachel Kowert, and on today's episode of Jargon Schmargon, we're going to be talking about self-determination theory. Self-determination theory, or SDT, is something that I've talked about in several of my videos before, but I thought it deserved its own spotlight so we can really delve into what the theory is, where it comes from, and how it applies to video games. At its core, self-determination theory is a theory of motivation. It attempts to explain why us as humans continue to do any particular behavior. SDT has three components. The first, autonomy. Autonomy is a sense of freedom. To put formally, autonomy within SDT concerns a sense of volition or willingness when doing a task. When activities are done for its own personal value, perceived autonomy is high. Having choices, rewards that give informational feedback, and more open-ended instructions have all been found to enhance the sense of autonomy. Conversely, events or conditions that diminish a sense of choice, control, or freedom for either the means or the ends of the action interfere with perceived autonomy. It can undermine the intrinsic motivation, which is the motivation to do things just for the sake of doing them. Being forced down a certain path, for instance, can reduce a sense of autonomy. Which reminds me of the Stanley Parable, because when the narrator tells you to go through the door on the left, what is it you want to do? You want to exercise your sense of autonomy and go through the door on the right.
When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Second component is competence. Competence is about being successful. It's a sense of achievement. Put formally within the SDT framework, competence refers to a need for challenge and feelings of effectiveness. Factors that enhance the experience of competence include opportunities to acquire new skills or abilities, to be optimally challenged, to be in that state of flow, which I've talked about in a previous episode of Jargon Schmargon, to receive positive feedback. All of these enhance our sense of competency. Perceived competency in gaming context is particularly enhanced when game controls are intuitive and readily mastered, and tasks within the game that provide ongoing optimal challenges to keep you in that state of flow and provide opportunities for positive feedback. All of these contribute to a sense of competence. Last but not least, relatedness. Relatedness is the sense of connection with other players or with the other characters within the game itself. Hashtag parasocial relationships. This is the third psychological need, which according to self-determination theory enhances motivation and wellness. Relatedness is experienced when a person feels connected to others. All of these formal definitions that I just shared above about SDT come from a 2006 paper by Deci, Ryan, and Shabilsky, who were the first to take self-determination theory and apply it to video games to explain why we engage in video game play. If you're interested in learning more about self-determination theory in relation to video games, it is a must-read. It is square one. That's where you should start. I'll link it below. It is important to understand that self-determination and its three components form the cornerstone of the discussions that we have today about gameplay motivations and video game effects. This approach, looking at gameplay as an extension of a vehicle to achieve these basic human motivational needs of autonomy, competence, and relatedness, help explain why Animal Crossing is social even when playing alone, why we love the open-ended worlds in games like Journey, and why it's just so damn satisfying when we find the castle where the princess is. If you like this video and want to see more, please like and subscribe, and until next time, be excellent to each other and always cite your sources.